guys, 22 Plinkster here. It has been a while since I've had any kind of air gun products on my channel, probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I am not an expert by any means when it talking about air guns or PCPs or anything like that, but I do like to shoot them. Since it's been 5 years, a lot of things have changed with air guns, and I have my buddy Matt here, so say hello, Matt.
Hey guys, good to be here.
So you may notice a small accent, and Matt also has a YouTube channel. I'll put it in the description below. And he does a lot of air gun things, so if you like air guns, go check him out. But where are you from, Matt?
I'm all the way from South Africa, so opposite side of the world pretty much.
Opposite side of the world, and
yeah.
in course with South Africa or Africa in general, firearms are a little bit harder to get than they are in the United States.
They are.
And Matt's going to go over kind of like why this particular firearm came into existence and why it actually fits me very, very well. So what do we have here, Matt?
So this is called the FX Impact M3.
Okay.
And you will have shot with one of the older generations of the Impact.
Yeah, like 5 years ago.
And it's evolved quite a lot. And back then the focus was really on pellets, you know, the head and dome and waist.
Like your traditional
pellet shape, which is much easier to get to shoot accurately. And that's been available in many calibers for quite a few years, everything from 177 up to 35 caliber.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in South Africa, where the law is pretty funny. It kind of states that anything above 5.6 millimeters diameter requires a firearms license, and that actually includes 22 long rifle.
Yep.
And I would love to just go out and buy a 22 long rifle, and it would kind of do a lot of the things that an air rifle would do. But with that law being there, for me to go apply for the license, and there's all these strict requirements, I don't have the same freedom. So I picked up this air gun, and I was stuck with 22 cal pellets, while all my friends over here in the US were shooting 30 cal pellets, and which just carries a lot more energy down range, bucks the wind better, just a little bit more fun to shoot. So I had to kind of think out the box a bit, and because I have such a good relationship with FX, and they're a company that likes to listen to people and get input, I kind of started on the journey of seeing, hey, you know, if a rimfire can shoot like a 40 grain slug at speed of sound or higher, surely an air gun must be able to do that. We've got a platform that can get you a decent amount of power, but we weren't quite sure what to do with the barrels and how to find projectiles in 217 caliber, which is 5.5 millimeters, what the air rifles are shooting, that can do that. We couldn't just pull out a rimfire bullet and plug it in there. So I kind of started on this journey of working with FX to develop barrels with the right twist rates, the right size, kind of sourcing different air gun slugs that were available on the market, getting them to shoot. And you know, back then we were starting with like a 22 or 23 grain at like 900 feet per second. It was sort of 40 foot-pounds of energy. It's like a third of what you're getting out of most rimfires, even less.
Yeah, I think the impact that I reviewed was it a 23 grain 22 caliber bullet?
Yeah. So
traditionally 22 long rifle was 40 grains, and they're shooting around, you know, your standard velocity is around 1,080, 1,070 feet per second. But that impact that I was shooting was doing what, like 900 to 1,000 with a 23 grain 22 caliber bullet. So okay, so that's correct, right?
Yeah,
like I said, I'm kind of new to this. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. You're the expert. So
so a light slug works, but you don't have the same sectional density to get the ballistic coefficient you need.
Yeah, BC is very important.
And just pushing velocity up doesn't help, because you're pushing up into the speed of sound, and when it drops back through the transonic zone, you lose a bit of. So the goal really was then, okay, let's keep the velocity subsonic, but let's get the weight up.
Okay.
And we kind of started working towards higher weights. And at about the same time, I actually realized there's a gap in the market for air rifle slugs. And myself and a few friends started a company called Patriot.
Okay.
And we manufacture Javelin slugs, which FX USA is distributing in the US. And we kind of developed these specifically for the FX barrels. So they match to the exact diameter, and we've got 40 grains available now, which are shooting pretty much 1,050 feet per second. So basically on par with the rimfire.
So basically what you're telling me, this setup will now shoot a 40 grain slug, hollow point lead, at the same speeds as a standard velocity 22 long rifle, around 1,050. So basically what we have here is a 22 long rifle on air, no powder.
Yep, and it took a bit of thinking out the box, because the limit with the air rifle is the fill pressure. you know what, you can't just buy a compressor that can reach the same pressures that you find inside a cartridge when that when that powder gets ignited. So we had to think out the box, and the one thing was getting the valving to be very efficient, so the pressure in the chamber is the same as the pressure in the tank when that hammer hits. The other thing is this barrel is quite long. This is a 800 millimeter barrel, much longer than you'd have on a
800 millimeter. Like,
very long.
How many inches is that? Like,
your barrel is not my strength. it's long.
It's about that long. So it's a bullpup. No, it's this long.
It's long.
So we're talking probably about a 20. I would say this barrel's like 27, 28 inches long.
It's much longer than you'd ever want on a rimfire.
Yeah.
And it's necessary on an air gun. In fact, if you make it too short, what you get is you get this burst of air that actually the valve is still open when the slug leaves the barrel, and you lose accuracy.
Yeah, gotcha.
So a bullpup is kind of important because you do not want a long barrel like this on a traditional looking
No,
rifle.
no. If it wasn't in a bullpup design, the barrel it'd be like this long. Like that would just look kind of, for hunting applications, that's just not going to work. If you're in a tight quarters, stuff like that, stalking, you can't just have a 35-inch barrel hanging out there. So the bullpup design is really good.
But what's great about this, I mean, this isn't too long if you look at how it looks.
No.
And you've got all these aftermarket accessories. So for example, now in the US and everywhere, the NRL has introduced an airgun division for NRL 22.
Okay.
So the guys, you can shoot a rimfire, you can shoot an air rifle, whatever, and there's a lot of guys competing, and you get all these aftermarket accessories where you can put an arc rail on, you can add weights to the front, get your balance right, like a lot of the NRL shooters are doing, and it's maybe not quite where your Voodoo, for example, is shooting in terms of precision, but it's pretty darn close.
So what can you expect to get accuracy out of this?
Yeah, so this, that's a 100-yard 10-shot group. It's like 0.75 MOA.
10-shot group, 0.7 with 36 grains. Is that right, or is it?
Yeah, that was a 34 grain. It was slightly lighter than this one, but
okay. Yeah. So I have told this many times on my channel. Anytime you can get a rimfire, I don't care if it's a $200 rimfire or if it's a $2,000 rimfire. If you can get a rimfire that will shoot a 10-shot group, or I usually say a 5-shot group, that is sub MOA, you keep it.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people. It's like, all right, I'm gonna get this 22. I'm gonna buy this bulk, ammo from Walmart. Just say like a Marlin Model 60 or a Ruger 1022, and it should shoot an inch group at 100 yards. No, it's not going to do that. Now, you may get a lucky one, okay, that may shoot that, okay, but that's like 1 out of 100. To get the precision shooting in the groups like that, you have to spend the money, okay? You to do it consistently, that is. Anybody can make a lucky shot every once in a while, so on and so forth, but to do it consistently, you have to put in the time with the rifle, and you have to spend the money on good glass, on a good trigger, a good setup like this, and you can get that consistent. But a 0.7-inch group, 10-shot group at 100 yards, that's definitely minute of squirrel at 100 yards. Yeah,
and the beauty of the setup, it's not cheap as it is, and you got to buy the air tank and everything as well. But when you buy match rimfire ammo, you're paying for the primer, you're paying for the case, you're paying for the consistency that goes into that.
And the quality control. That's the big thing that you're paying for, is the quality control.
But with air rifle ammo, you can get sort of match ammo that's very well made for quite a bit cheaper.
Oh, wow.
So you're paying for the gun, but it's more of a once-off cost, and you don't have to worry too much about it afterwards.
So it's like,
and from a tuning perspective, you've got all these adjustments over here where you can play with the pressure, you can play with the with how the hammer strikes the valve. You can kind of set your velocity wherever you want it. So if you're finding it shooting better at 1030 than it is at 1050, then you set it there. And see, that's quite a nice thing to have. And
you can't do that with rimfire. You're stuck with one cartridge out of the gun, and I can see where that would actually come in handy. So if you're at a higher altitude, or you're at a place with like higher humidity, you can fine tune it. Yeah, it may shoot great in South Africa, but your altitude's different, your humidity's different, and you come out here to Tennessee, and you're like, hey, this thing's not shooting as well as it was at home, and then you can micro adjust everything in to dial it. That's pretty cool. So with rimfire, you can't do that. You can like change out a barrel or switch ammo or something like that, but you're stuck with what you're stuck with. So
this is definitely a setup for the tinkerer, someone who wants to just try something new every day and play around. And
now
I enjoy it.
I've got a question. I get this question like in every single video you guys are going to ask. So without this optic on here, what does something like this run? Like this setup without the optic?
I'm actually not very much up to date with the prices in the US, and I don't want to get it wrong, so I think it's best if we
just leave it in the comments,
leave it down below.
Or okay,
yeah,
I'll just shoot it on the screen right about now.
Yeah.
US dollars, how much this rifle? But like you said, it's like one of those things. You buy once, you cry once.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
then you can fill your own air. You know, if you got a air compressor that'll bump it up to what most air guns are like 400, like 4,500
PSI.
Yep. So once you buy that air compressor, you can buy the slugs for relatively cheap, and you can just shoot, and you're not going to burn one of these barrels up.
Never. And you know what? I've never cleaned this barrel. You don't have to clean it.
And see, that's the good thing about air guns. Like rimfire, you know, usually after 100 shots, 150, sometimes 200 shots with a match ammo, and you know, you have to run, you know, a rope through it or something to get all that carbon out and stuff. But you don't have that because you're not shooting, you're not firing anything. You're pushing it with air. So with that, instead of an explosion. So, but people are going to want to know how this thing shoots.
Absolutely.
So you are the air gun guy. I will let you shoot it, and I will shoot it a few times. But guys, listen, I'm all for new things. I'm all for new technology. And, you know, I'm not trying to sell you on this gun, okay? I'm not, okay? I just want to show you guys something cool, something that is just the engineering behind it. It's pretty amazing. And if you can't own, like, a firearm, if you're in a country and you have all these regulations, maybe look into something that, you know, that you can shoot an air gun. Now that you can shoot the same velocity, the same grain weight as a 22 long rifle, it's perfect for, you know, shooting paper, you know, small game hunting. There's so many things that you can do with a 22 long rifle now that you can do it with an air rifle.
Yeah, and you don't need, you can just put a suppressor on there, no problem, without any issues.
Yeah, and that's the great thing. You know, air guns, you don't have to have a regulated suppressor because a lot of you can buy air gun suppressor. It makes it so quiet. Now this one has a comp on it, but you can put an air gun suppressor on there that makes these things whisper quiet. However, you can't put that same suppressor on like a 22 long rifle. It'll blow it up. So that's how that they can get away with that, because this is not technically considered a firearm. This is an air rifle. So there's a lot of legality things that you can do. You know, something for a bug out gun. You know, doomsday kind of person that can't find ammo. If you have a compressor, you know, you'll be good to go. So, all right, enough talking about it. I want to shoot this thing.
Oh,
so,
yeah, let's do it.
Let's put a camera up at 100 yards and back up here and just see what kind of groups we can get on a semi-calm day. There are a few gusts of wind. I'm already making excuses. So if you outshoot me, it's because of the wind. So let's get back here and do some shooting.
Great, let's do it.
All right, Matt, I have got a know your limit target down range at 100 yards. So how many do you think you can hit in a row?
Oh, it's hard to say, but let's see what we can do.
All right, you got
pretty
your
good
GoPro.
conditions, so.
You got your GoPro, so you guys are going to be able to see exactly what he is seeing. So, you're already dialing. So did you just move that, and now you know, like where you need to hold, and when I get behind it, I need to hold it dead on. I'm going to miss it on purpose.
Well, my rangefinder tells me it's set up with the same trajectory as this.
Okay.
So
all right, I thought you were already sabotaging me right out the get-go. So.
No, that should be pretty good. So
all right.
See what we can do.
Let's do it to it.
Okay, well.
And are these the 40 grainers?
40 grain at 1040, basically.
Okay, so we're shooting 40 grain slugs at 1,040 feet per second. All right.
That's the first one.
You hit the first one. He nailed the second one. Third one. Guys, this is at 100 yards. Oh, did he move? I can't tell.
I'll go for the fourth one again.
All right, fourth one again. Yeah, you hit it.
Fourth one.
Couldn't tell.
Couldn't tell. I think I missed that one.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I'm going to call it there.
You're going to call it there, so
yeah,
you got 5?
A little bit low. We should shoot a quick 5-shot group at the target. What do you want to do?
Well, let me see how many I can hit on those little targets.
Okay, I'm going to I'm gonna
on a rifle I've never shot before.
I'm hitting bottom edge all of them, so I'm
Okay.
gonna go 2 clicks up for you.
All right, so
That
now
should be. So now you
Right
have an
on.
advantage.
So now, or it was really shooting like 4 inches high, and now he's really sabotaged me. So, all right, so let me get behind this thing and see what I can do.
Yeah, it should be pretty much. You'll be able to see my impact there as well. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, how much recoil does this thing have? Just
not
joking.
much, nothing.
All right.
It's a 1-stage trigger. It's not too light, but
Okay. Well, I hit the first one.
second one.
Second one. Oh, I hit it. It
Nice.
moved, but I didn't hit it really good. Let me hit it again. Oh, I think I whiffed it. Got it that time. Man, this thing is accurate. Nailed it. Nailed it. Good grief, this thing is a tack driver. Oh, I think I just barely nicked it. Ah,
We're starting to drop a little bit off the regulator now, so it might start to lose a bit of speed. But
all right, so I need to aim just a tad higher?
Tiny bit higher, yeah.
Tiny bit higher. I've got to call it quits there, man. I know it's close. I can't tell exactly.
Yeah.
But still, some of those targets for a half inch,
That's tiny.
half inch at 100 yards. So this is definitely minute of squirrel. So,
yeah.
all right, now let's see what kind of groups we can get at 100.
Perfect.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, I've got a Caldwell target set up downrange at 100 yards, and I'm curious to see how well this thing will group. So it was hitting those know your limit targets pretty good. So
Yeah.
if I shoot under an inch group with this thing, I will be happy. You know, you've got me. I think it will if I can do my job. I know you can shoot under an inch group, but again, brand new rifle for me.
Yeah.
Not used to the trigger. I'm already making excuses. I'll shut up now. So
And here comes the wind as well.
yeah, yeah. And I got a rock in my shoe. Right dead in the middle of that target. Yeah, that was me. Okay, that went in the same hole of the first shot. Now that paired up, and they'll be able to tell here on the camera, I'm shaking slightly, not too bad. So I think this wind is maybe
It's
pushing
definitely
it a
picked up.
little bit. It's picked up a little bit.
Yeah.
You guys can see it in the camera. Some groups are like, so 2 shots are right on top of each other, and then I've got 3 that's strung out like that, about
Okay.
a half inch to the left. So
Yeah.
maybe the wind picking up a little bit. So that's still sub MOA. That's still probably about a 0.7, 0.8
really?
inch
Okay.
group. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm happy with that. That's definitely minute of squirrel, but I'm excited to see what you can do behind it.
Yeah, let's see.
All right.
Cool. Swap out this magazine here. Still recording there. Let's see.
Did you get the paper?
Yeah. You can't see where, I think it's a bit low.
Yeah, this wind is definitely swirling now.
Oh, now that is a good group.
Is it a really good group?
It's a very good group.
Well, let's go down range, let's retrieve the target, and we'll show you guys the group, and we'll kind of end the video there.
Awesome.
I'm excited to see your
Good
group.
stuff, yeah.
All right. All right, we retrieved our targets down range. Here's my group, okay? You're looking, it's probably about an inch group, okay? So I put two in the same hole right there, but I guess the wind was picking up a little bit. I'm not making excuses. You can probably see in the scope footage, I was holding on, but this wind was swirling. The wind was doing much better with him because he's not a better shot than me at all. No, he is a really, really good shot with an air gun. But dude, that's like a half-inch group. Maybe probably like 0.6 inch group. And you know, we were discussing 5 years ago, you would have never heard of someone taking a 40 grain slug, shooting it through an air rifle at the velocities that we're shooting through and getting a 0.6 inch group at 100 yards. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
So, and we did some research while he goes, this rifle, this setup without the optics is about $2,100. So if you're curious about getting this FX, now this is the M3, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, M3.
Yeah.
Guys, the trigger is like butter. If you live inside a place where you're not allowed to shoot firearms and you have to do pest control, something like that, this is what you get, especially with a suppressor on it. So tell people how to find you on social media.
So my YouTube channel is called Air Arms Hunting SA. I'm sure Dave will put a link down below or whatever. I do a lot of sort of gun reviews, hunting videos, stuff like that. Not just with air rifles, but also firearms. But yeah, just have a good time down in South Africa.
I've been watching his stuff for years, man. It's kind of like he traveled all the way from Africa just to come up here and make a video. No, he's going to do some other stuff. But man, thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me shoot the FX. And guys, if you have any questions, you can go to his page and ask him there. He's probably going to know more about this stuff than I am. Well, I guarantee he's going to know more about it. But you can also put him in the comments below because he will be looking at the comments and answering those questions as you guys put them out. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, again, our social media sites are in the comments below. Until next time, y'all be safe and keep blinking.